Three great questions you absolutely must ask in any job interview. I'm going to tell you what they are. I'm going to tell you why we want you to ask them, what information you should get, and how to use that information ultimately to not only score better in the interview, get hired, but also get paid more. These are three of the most potent questions you can ask in any job interview. Before we dive right into those, is I want to benchmark the group again. I think I might put this reminder in the beginning of every one of my videos from here on out. I won't do that, but it's this important. So I want to start here. For those of you that follow me, you know I say there are always 5 things that are present whenever you're interviewing with a company, whether the interviewer knows this or not. But ultimately, these are the 5 variables that are at play that determine whether you get hired and what you get paid, whether they call them out or whether they're just operating them subconsciously. But all employers have goals. They have problems, a solution they think is going to fix their problems and achieve their goals, the profile of the individual who they think is going to fit, and what that person costs. There's ideas about all of these as they reach out or they recruit individuals, as individuals apply online, as organizations assemble their organograms, whatever it might be. There are always these things at play. Now, there are variations of these, and there are variations from the time you start the interview process to the time you end the interview process, because during those discussions throughout that entire interviewing process, to the extent that you can show them that you can accomplish their goals to a greater level or faster or cheaper or whatever is going to raise your stock, it's also going to raise your value. The problems they have, you want to be clear on what those are and show them how you've solved those problems in the past or how you will solve or overcome those challenges or issues in their environment in the future based on your work history. And also there's the solution that they think it's going to take in order to implement the product, fix the customer service issue, improve their marketing, whatever it might be. Now, the solution itself could be delivered faster. It could be delivered cheaper. It could be delivered with a greater shelf life. There's a number of things that can also change what that solution is and the profile of the individual. We think we need someone with 10 years of experience and so on and so forth. You might be able to show them that somebody with 20 years is even better because, or somebody with 5 years of experience can do this because. And they might be thinking this person costs $100,000 annually. You might say, I'll take 70. I'll take 170. It depends on all these other variables, what they ultimately will pay based on the value you're going to contribute. Now, I don't want to go too much deeper than this today because I do have multiple videos out there where I take a deeper dive into what these 5 variables are and how you can use them to your advantage throughout the interviewing process. One of the videos is, I released this about a month or so ago, if you're here with me real time and watching this live, what every job seeker needs to know about negotiating salary. You could tell I have typos sometimes when I write my quote cards, but this one doesn't have a typo. 5 ways to get paid more salary when interviewing. Both of these videos are very good. They've come out within the last 7-8 months, something like that. And you could take a deeper dive on how to use these 5 variables at play to your advantage to get hired, to get paid more. Now, the reason I wanted to introduce this is because the questions that I'm going to show you that I want you to ask are going to be aimed at some of these and how you might be able to actually use that to your advantage. So, question number 1 that I want you to think about and ask is, what does success look like exactly? Meaning, if I am to take this job or you're to offer it to me and I am to take it, what will I have done exactly in 6 months, in a year, whatever the duration is for what it is they're hiring you to do? And even if they're hiring you to do a job that you do every single day and you complete it every single day, you still want to know what success looks like. So after I've been here for 3 months or 6 months or a year, what exactly does success look like? If you're hiring me to implement this project, what does success look like? Does it look like an on-time, on-budget project? Does it look like customers are happy? Does it look like we've established more credibility within the organization or externally or whatever it might be? This is the leadoff question, and the information that I want you to get in particular is what areas of focus are we going to concentrate on in order to achieve that success? So are you hiring me to run this project? So I have to have a methodology to run the project. I actually have to run the project. I have to build relationships with the stakeholders. I might have to hire a team. All of those guys. I might have to set up a communication dashboard for our executives. All of these things are the focus areas. Sometimes, not always, if you have a job description, these will be spelled out, but it's really important that if you've got a 3-page laundry list of stuff they want you to do, that you boil it down to the 3 to 5 to 6 different areas that are most important and get it clear in their mind. They know exactly what you're going to be concentrating on. What are the goals? Is the goal of the project to implement it on time and on budget? Is it additionally to improve the customer care's ability to access customer records to solve problems faster? What does that look like? Do we need to establish credibility that what we're thinking in terms of the strategy and the roadmap related to this project, which is the first of a series of projects or events that need to occur? Do we need to have an established credibility to make future sales, so to speak, or pitches of projects we want to implement from a technological standpoint, from a process engineering standpoint, from a product development standpoint, from a marketing innovation standpoint, or whatever it might be? Is one of the goals to establish credibility with the management team? What does that look like? So some of the goals might be very specific. You will have put this in on time, in under $1 million, and so on and so forth. You will have achieved so many sales. You will be able to close the books within 3 days each month. Some of it might be specific. Some of it might be credibility. We will subjectively evaluate the level of clout that we now have because we're the IT department and we don't have much credibility because we've been bumbling up projects for the last few years. We need to reestablish that and earn the trust of the stakeholders so that they open up their pocketbooks so we can fix some of this stuff for them. Whatever it might be. Next thing, okay, what are my specific responsibilities that go along with that I'm going to need to be able to do? Now some of this may or may not come right out in the response to your question, but these are the kind of things I want you to make sure you have in the wake of the question. Next thing, well, what are the priorities? What am I going to do first? What am I going to do second? And then the other thing is, in order for us to achieve that level of success, what resources are you committing? Maybe those are bodies. Maybe they're dollars and cents. Maybe they're software packages. Maybe they're training programs. Maybe it's recruitment time from the recruitment department or whatever recruitment levels are needed in order to secure the right resources, whatever it might be. But these are the areas that I would get. That's question number 1. If they cannot tell you these things, it's frightening. I would not want to be taking a job where I don't know how I'm going to be measured or whether they know how I'm going to be measured. They'll keep moving the goalpost on you. Next thing. So you've got first question, what does success look like exactly? Next question, what is the single greatest obstacle standing in our way? Our way, right? Sound like you're part of the team already. What's the single greatest obstacle? Now, if you go back to the first card I showed you, right? Success sounds like goals, right? These are our goals. Andy wants more leads, more people on his newsletter. He wants them for cheaper. He wants them more like the demographic that typically buys his stuff. That's my goal. What are my problems? I don't have a marketing budget. I don't know how to run Facebook ads, whatever it might be. What's the single greatest obstacle standing in my way? Andy puts out pretty good videos, but his SEO is not really great, so not a lot of people discover him. That could be my single greatest problem. I don't know what my single greatest problem is. I got a lot of problems, but you're trying to get at this information. So pull it out of them. What's the next biggest problem? What's the next biggest problem? And you're asking these. Why? Because I want you to not only get the problems, but I want you to show them how you have already solved the similar types of problems that they just surfaced, or how you will solve those problems or will handle them in their environment. And you might say, well, Andy, I'm asking questions. Should I interrupt my question asking and start talking about how I will do that? I don't care if you do it then, if it's a conversation and you're kind of going back and forth and the flow is good, or if you're filing away this information for the next interview. Or when you go talk to the hiring official's boss and you say, well, the hiring official said one of your biggest obstacles is, here's how I would solve it. Have you considered? And so on and so forth. This is going to help them know that you're the right person, because it isn't necessarily the person who has the greatest skills or has the features, so to speak, that gets the job. It's the person who can articulate their fit and value, but also can connect the dots for the employer that I can help you solve those goals. I've overcome the challenges that you are encountering or have encountered or don't know how to overcome. Because the more of their specific problems you've handled, the more bullseye-like you look. Because there are a lot of people that have the requisite skills, but all of those people can't articulate how they've actually used those skills to solve the specific problems, right? They're answering generic interviewing questions. You're going to get real live data that is, the more you can attack, the greater the likelihood that you're going to get hired, because the more niche you're going to look and more specific you're going to look to them that you solve their exact issues. Okay, then, so we've got, what does success look like? What's the single greatest obstacle standing in your way of achieving that success? And then, what would it be worth to you and the company to have that success, to achieve that goal, to overcome those problems, to make your customers happier, to make the internal board members, stakeholders, management team love you more? So this one here is aimed at what? Worth, value. What's the value? So I want you to get specifically, what is the value? It would be worth $1 million in customer, repeat customers. It would be worth $1 million in retaining customers. It would be worth whatever. It would help us secure future whatever. Get all the value that it would be, because you're going to make that the centerpiece of your counter offer when you get the job offer, because you're going to get the job offer. When you get the job offer, you're going to be able to say, you told me that was worth $1 million. You told me that if I sold $2 million, that was $50,000 in profit. It was $500,000 in profit. It's going to secure our ability to. It's going to make life easier for. Tangible, intangible, anything that you can grab, because this to me is playing chess, right? You're giving them to give you the answers that you are then going to regurgitate back to them when you're arguing for how much you're actually worth, because they told you this was the value to them. So if you're not sure what the value is, you're going to ask. So when you get rolling, remember, just to recap this, you've got goals, problems, solutions, profile, and a cost. And if you want more on this, right, what every job seeker should know about salary negotiation, check that video out, as well as 5 ways to get paid more salary when interviewing. So that's the first thing. First question you're going to ask is, what does success look like exactly? What is the single greatest obstacle standing in our way? And what would it be worth to you and the company to have that success? Kind of tight, kind of quick, kind of powerful. So if you want more on this, I've got more videos on the YouTube channel on questions to ask in a job interview. But I think pound for pound, and if you only had a couple minutes to ask the questions, these are the 3 I'd ask. All right, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, click the like button. If you're here with me live, we're going to the chat. If you're watching this on recording, I'll see you next week.